This evening, as the rain is beginning to wind down, you can
I think they're just as good. You get your money back. You can't lose. I like that.
Where I come from, things are like in the big leagues, full of excitement. Come, enjoy the Dominican Republic. Mi casa es su casa.
The Dominican Republic. Come and share our treasures.
Here's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, rain continues to soak parts of the Northeast, but that's better than the ice-covered areas that were there this morning. Hello, I'm Jeff Morrow. Welcome to this edition of Weather Center, sponsored by Kellogg's.
And I'm Mike Seidel. Thanks for watching us this evening. The Pacific Northwest gets ready for another round of stormy weather, and it's Groundhog Day.
That's right.
We'll find out if Phil saw his shadow, because you know that determines the forecast for the next 6 weeks. But first, let's check in on the Northeast, where, by the way, Phil is tonight, and maybe this will clue you in Worcester, Massachusetts, where it was an icy morning in some parts of New England. This is Worcester, where you had to deal with slippery roads and sidewalks, light freezing rain, slow traffic, as well as pedestrians. It did warm up as the day went on, so icing is no longer a major problem, but it is still wet, and that rain and snow is causing runoff. We've got problems with runoff. We've got problems at the airports. Let's deal with the problems tonight. But better news ahead for you morning commuters. It looks much nicer at the airports and on the highways. But tonight, delays continue LaGuardia and Newark and at Philadelphia International. So if you're flying out or heading out to pick up someone, check ahead. Northeast, storm, and this front, which will clear everything out later on tonight. But in the meantime, we still have very warm, moist air flowing north into New England. The saving grace here has been the fact that temperatures for most of you are above freezing. So what has fallen today, at least this afternoon, has been rain, like in New York, in Boston, 53 in New York. Springtime, 54 in Philadelphia, up to 40 in Burlington. Notice temperatures at or below freezing in Maine, and this is where the snow and sleet continues. Also, we've had a lot of rainfall, melting snow and ice, and a lot of runoff. So we have flash flood warnings up now for Hartford County, New Haven County, and Litchfield counties in Connecticut. Watch those small streams and creeks and rivers, because they may rise above bankful. Fortunately, the rain is heading out of town. You can see the radar looks clear back towards Philadelphia and D.C. So we're getting an end of the rain, but you know there's a time lapse between the end of the rain and the runoff. So just be on your guard in those counties I mentioned in Connecticut. As we move into western New York, still a few more showers all the way back to Buffalo. And then we get up into Maine, and this is where the snow continues around Caribou, Bangor, and Augusta. Not a whole lot of snow unless you're up in the mountains up towards the ski resorts, several inches there. But again, for the coastal areas, the travel is going to be getting better and better as the night progresses. You'll have some rain and fog this evening, and then as we get towards morning, the rain is out of there. Maybe a little murky in the morning around sunrise, but then the sunshine comes out, and the temperatures head towards 50 in New York and maybe 50 in Boston. So if you can deal with the wet weather tonight like you've dealt with it most of this work week, better things ahead for tomorrow. More on that in the forecast, though. More now on the rest of the Midwest weather with Jeff Morrow.
All right, Mike, and this is a cold front, but it's not just a cold front, it's what we call a kicker. In other words, it is kicking that low that Mike was just talking about and all its attendant rain and a little bit of ice and snow up in northern New England out of the picture eventually. As it moves along, it'll act pretty much as a sweeper, I guess, and kind of sweep everything out to sea. Now, it's going to take until midday afternoon hours tomorrow to get everything completely offshore, particularly in northern New England, but for the time being, we still have to deal with some messy weather. The front itself does not have a lot of precipitation with it. We have a little bit of light rain, showery rains falling around the Cleveland, Ohio vicinity and on up toward Erie. But you have to remember that in early February, it could very easily be all snow, and it could be heavy snow, and we could be talking about lake effect snows after the front sweeps by. Just not that kind of pattern, though, and it looks like the air behind this system is not all that terribly cold. We are getting the rain showers, as I mentioned, around Cleveland, and it looks like just east of Cincinnati, on over toward Columbus, Ohio, and Zanesville. Earlier this evening, it was raining fairly hard briefly at Huntington, West Virginia, moving over toward Charleston now, through the Kentucky coal fields, and then kind of tapering off as we head into Tennessee. Again, the air behind this system, not all that terribly cold. Case in point, Chicago, 35 degrees now. You know, that rain that I just showed you on the radar actually was moving through the Chicagoland area a little bit earlier in the day, actually early this morning when you had to have the umbrellas out. But that's a far cry from the blizzard we had about a month or so ago. Fortunately, the rain is now gone and drier air is moving in, and you should have a much milder day as we head on through the day on Wednesday. Maybe followed by another shot of somewhat cooler air and a little bit more rain. 35 in Minneapolis right now, 23 in International Falls. Those temperatures way above average, even when you factor in the winds. Minneapolis feeling like 18 this time of the year, 9. Very easily these readings could be well below zero. As we head into the southeast, little trough swinging its way through the Carolinas and most of the rain out ahead of that trough, so even for the Outer Banks, the rain is over with. There's that band of showers through parts of Tennessee and Kentucky, and we have a few isolated showers in northern parts of Florida and maybe touching down toward Vero Beach, but that's about it. And again, temperatures way above average for this time of the year. Now let's head west with Mike.
And Jeff, we've got two storms we're dealing with in the west. One has already moved on through, now moving in through the Intermountain West with heavy snow. The second one right here, you can see this swirl out here, and that's going to take aim and attack you in Seattle and Portland as we